Good evening and welcome to River Forest, Illinois, here at Concordia University, Chicago, for game number 2 of the Concordia Chicago Tri here in River Forest. This time between the Westminster Blue Jays of Missouri taking on the North Park Vikings. And North Park took on Concordia Chicago earlier today at noon and won that match 3-1. In game 1 of the Tri. They'll look to continue an undefeated day here in River Forest against Westminster, who is preparing for their 5th program men's volleyball game of all time. The Westminster Blue Jays off to a strong start in their inaugural season, 3-1 in their first tournament and a trip to New York. And they're looking to continue that strong start here in Illinois, starting with the match against North Park. Both of these teams with winning records in the very early parts of the season, and they'll look to strengthen those even more this evening. It'll be North Park to serve first, and back to serve for the Vikings is number 16, Teddy Gedville. Gedville's serve is up and across, and that's going to go all the way out. A great dodge on the back line from Dalio Teo. Yeah. That's .1 for the Blue Jays.
First serve of the season, first serve of the game, just had a little bit too much heat on it.
Now serves up, Gedville sets, and that's another error on the part of North Park. Makes it 2-0 Westminster. Sam Robinson got set up, had a chance, sent it too far wide, so another service opportunity for Shaw McAllister. McAllister sets, just tapped across by Lehman, and that's off the diving reach of Chantalangsi, and that's an early 3-0 lead for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, honestly, it would have been for the best if Chantalangsi had just let that one fall, because it looked like it was heading out. So that's 3 early mistakes that have gotten them in a 3-0 hole.
Chantalangsi able to dig that one up. Now there's a shot blocked at the line by Ortman. Second opportunity for Adebayo. Set by McAllister. Lehman tips it across. Gedville sets up the back row, and that's going to be the first point of the night. A mid-range kill for Gerald Milana. And Milana, he had himself a heck of a day earlier in River Forest. 15 kills, 8 errors against Concordia Chicago. And he picks up the first kill and point of the night for the Vikings.
Yep, that stops the 3-point run by Westminster, so now they're hoping that they can get some more points.
Adebayo gets that across. That's going to be sent right back across. Ryan Rhodes diving for it and unable to keep it in bounds. So there's another reception error. Both teams struggling on reception in these early phases. And that brings the Vikings within 1. Adebayo back to serve once more. Serve is up. Top spin on that one. That's going to spin down. A great serve from Adebayo. Ortman able to get under it, but unable to get it anywhere useful. And Adebayo has made this a 3-3 game.
North Park had a bit of a slow start, but once they got that first point, they've scored the next 2, looking to have their first lead of the night with this one.
Adebayo sends it across. That one set up by McAllister again, pushed across by Rohrbach. Set by Chantalangsi. Milana across. McAllister able to get there. Langman on the far side just can't get it across off the top of the net. And after a strong 3-0 start, the Blue Jays have fallen to an 0-4 slide.
Yeah, looked like the Blue Jays had some early control in this game, and then once North Park got that first point, it's just been errors and a few mishits by Westminster.
Adebayo back to serve once more, sends it across. Received by Tail, set by McAllister. And there it is. Aiden Ortman stops the bleeding. A kill shot to the back row. Adebayo can't reel it in. And the Blue Jays will bring possession back as Ortman back to serve once again. And Aiden Ortman, he has been a force in his freshman season for this Westminster squad. Leads that team in kills in their inaugural season so far with 42. Make that 43 after that one.
Yes, he does, averaging 2.8 a set. If he keeps this up, that number's going to get even higher.
That one falling out of bounds, tipped off of a Blue Jay. So point North Park. They have the lead back again, 5-4. This time back to serve, it's Sam Robinson, who's pretty much back in his hometown. Sam Robinson, the senior at North Park, graduated from Chicago, Illinois, Taft High School a few years ago. McAllister sets, and there it is. Dalio Teo comes across and brings the thunder. Brings it back to a 5-5 game. Perfect set from Shaw McAllister, and Teo able to get the perfect contact smack dab in the middle of the court.
Teo sent that one in like a rocket, and none of the North Park players were able to get it.
And North Park able to respond again. Braden Lennon out of Parker, Colorado. Sent that one to the feet of Aiden Ortman. Makes it a 6-5 game.
Yeah. Both teams went on some early runs to start, and now it's just been back and forth the last few points.
Liam Miller back to serve now for North Park. Sends it across. Received by Ortman. Shaw McAllister sets. How about that? Off the hand of Khalil Peterson. Got up there and sent it straight down.
Westminster's not afraid to just send him some absolute rocket shots on North Park, knowing that they're not able to return him so far.
Back to serve now for Westminster. It's Adam Rosh. Rosh sends it across, received by Chantalengsi. Miller sets. Milana, received by Rhodes. Shaw McAllister sets for Teo, tipped across. Miller to Milana again. Rhodes keeps it up. Shaw McAllister. This time it's Ortman from the back row. Floater. Miller able to keep it alive. Chantalengsi just has to push it across. Shaw McAllister. And that one just down on the line. Khalil Peterson back-to-back kills. Perfectly placed again. And Peterson's control has been remarkable these last couple of plays.
Oh, yeah. Well, you just saw that last shot. It was just right on the reach, right on the line where none of the North Park players could get to it.
Rosh sends it across again. Miller sets up Gedville. Rhodes receives off the roof and down. So that's going to be a point North Park. Just too much on the reception for Ryan Rhodes. And it's not just here in Geisman Gymnasium at Concordia, Chicago that you see balls go off the roof, but compared to most universities, this gym, it's a bit tighter. It's a bit smaller, and you'll see plays like that happen a little more often.
Yeah, it's a bit compact here.
Ooh.
Wow.
Gerald Milana perfectly placed on the far corner. That's another service ace tonight. Gerald Milana, his first opportunity at the line, makes it count.
All of Westminster thought that one was going out and said it hit right on the corner.
And Milana, it's all about that top spin as Rosh receives. Shaw McAllister sets for Teo, blocks straight back down. Shaw McAllister sets again. Ortman, mid-range, just over the back line. So back-to-back points for the Vikings. 9-7 now. Milana, another chance to serve. And Milana sends that one across, and that one's got a bit too much hot sauce on it out the back line. So Milana's run ends on a service error. North Park will take possession back, and back to serve is Dalio Teo.
Yeah, Milana had a few perfect serves that were right on the money. Unfortunately, that one, like you said, it's just a little too much hot sauce.
Tail across, miscommunication on the reception. Miller sets for Gedville, blocked at the line, but blocked out of bounds. Peterson and Ortman couldn't get the right angle. So that's straight back the way of North Park.
Yeah, it was a perfect block to prevent the ball from going over their heads. Unfortunately, they couldn't angle it right, and it went directly out of bounds.
Now back to serve for the Vikings, Jonah John Sampson out of Texas. And he'll send that one across. Teo receives it straight back across. Peterson keeps it up. And Orton blocked at the line. These two teams just batting it back and forth and forth. Now Miller, perfect set to Sam Robinson. And North Park able to be heads up, slow that pace down. And Liam Miller, he didn't start this game, but since he's come in, he has been incredible at that setter position.
Oh, yeah. He saw that they were just hitting it back and forth, dinking over the net to each other, and said, nah, I've had enough of that.
John Sampson gets it across. Shao McAllister sets for Ortman, and this time it's Ortman who brings the thunder. That one eats up John Sampson, who fell on his butt. That's another kill for Aiden. Ortman keeps piling them on, makes it a 9-11 game. And back to serve for his first time tonight, it's Keegan Nace, the freshman out of Wichita, Kansas. Nace across. Miller able to keep that one up, and another one for Sam Robinson. Miller's making it too easy for his men out there.
Yeah, Miller just hasn't been hitting the good sets and serves, and that's allowed North Park to just fire it back at them.
And that Miller will head out of the game. Braden Lennon comes back in as they get up to the front row. Gedville will send across his second time at the service line. Sean McAllister sets up Ortman, and again the sauce. Milana keeps it alive. Mid-range, Sean McAllister sets up Ortman again. Just a floater this time. Gedville's there. Gentilengsi puts that one up for Lennon. Blocked at the line. Ortman and Rohrbach get up there and send it straight back down.
That was perfectly anticipated by Ortman. He saw the North Park players getting ready to hit it, and he timed his jump so that he sent that ball straight back before they even knew what hit him.
Sean McAllister serving. Received by Adebayo. Lennon sets for Adebayo. And that one out the back line. Adebayo had too much on it. That's going to bring Westminster back within one.
Adebayo thought he had the angle on it, but instead it was a little too fast.
Sean McAllister sends it across again. Adebayo to Gedville. And just miscommunication way too much on the set from Gedville. Looked like he was trying to go across the court, but there was no one on the backside.
Yeah, he was anticipating a player being there, and unfortunately for him, there was no player there.
McAllister serves again. Gedville this time sets for Lennon. Blocked at the line again. Gedville setting up Adebayo. Just shoves it across. Sean McAllister sets up Lehman, perfectly placed floater. Now Adebayo gets it across. Sean McAllister keeps it up. Rhodes unable to get there to keep it alive again. And North Park wins that rally, able to break through Westminster. And that puts the Vikings back on top.
Rhodes made a good dive for it, but unfortunately it was just out of his reach, and North Park's back in the lead.
Adekunle Adebayo back to serve once again. Serve is up, received by Ortman into the net. Sean McAllister able to keep it alive. There's Teo to Sean McAllister. Lehman from the near side and gets it deflected off of Lennon's block. So the Blue Jays respond, and that's an interesting hit from Lehman, but even more interesting block attempt from Lennon. Looked like he tried to stay with the ball as it continued to go over the net. Now Ortman all the way to Gentilengsi. Gedville sets for Robinson. Great block from Teo. Milana keeps it alive. Sean McAllister sets up Rohrbach, and that's going to be a double touch called on North Park. I think that's a late call on Gentilengsi on the other side. Looked like it might have gone off his foot and hand. Either way, Westminster comes out on top, and now the Blue Jays back in front.
It's been a very back-and-forth set that we're seeing so far.
Ortman across, Adebayo to Gedville to Milana, and Milana says goodbye to that deficit. Right back to a 14-14 ball game.
Milana just sent that in like a heat seeker, and Westminster couldn't react in time, and it was perfect placement, nice and low.
Back to serve now for North Park. It's Sam Robinson. Serves up and across, received by Rhodes. Ortman sets across for Teo, mid-range. Robinson to Gedville to John Sampson. Able to get that one off the block attempt from Luke Rohrbach. That puts the Vikings back in front, 15-14.
The force of that hit just knocked Ryan Rhodes directly backwards. He didn't have a chance of sending that back to North Park.
Robinson serves once more, and that's a heads-up play from Ryan Rhodes and the Westminster bench calling that one out of bounds, and it was. Another service error, and that's a big point of difference between these two teams, Eric. No service errors for Westminster, yet 3 on the part of North Park.
Yeah, and that's those mistakes that as we get deeper into the set here, those start to add up.
Now Sean McAllister, a little dump. North Park able to keep it alive. Lennon tries to float it. Ortman saves, but it's saved into the bleachers.
Yeah, that shot was closer to us than it was the North Park side of the net.
North Park back in front, 16-15. Liam Miller back into the game, and he'll drop back to serve. Miller's serve up and across, received by Ortman. Rhodes gonna set up tail, and that's going to be into the net. So point North Park. The North Park bench starting to get a bit more into it, trying to bring a bit more energy.
Yeah, North Park's bench is seeing that the end is a little bit closer in sight now.
Liam Miller back to serve once more. Takes a step, serves up. Ortman receives, Rhodes, passing to Teo on the near side. That's Adebayo to Miller, and John Sampson feinted. Milana able to keep it alive. Miller setting up Milana again. That's off the net and out of bounds. Point Westminster.
And just like that, Westminster's only down by 1 point again. These two teams just seem to love going back and forth with each other.
Westminster trailing by 1 as we get towards the back half of the set. Back to serve for the second time tonight, Adam Rosh. Rosh across, Chantalangsi, Miller. Now Gedville, blocked at the line. Getting up there is Shao McAllister. And the junior out of St. Louis, Missouri, Shao McAllister, an interesting presence on this Westminster roster. A lot of these guys are freshmen. This is his team's first year of playing volleyball. Shao McAllister, he's a junior, and it appears as if he's been at Westminster his whole collegiate career. His last school was Afton High School. Not a transfer in, is a junior, and he's playing incredibly well so far in his first season for the Westminster Blue Jays.
For a young team like Westminster, sometimes it can just be that big of an impact, just having an older player that's been around and knows like the ins and outs of volleyball.
Miller setting up Adebayo. Blocked at the line by Peterson. Shaw Robinson keeps it alive. Peterson just has to send it across. Miller to Chantalangsi. Setting up Milana on the near side, and that's going to eat up Ryan Rhodes.
Rhodes managed to deflect it, but unfortunately it went straight in between the gap of the Westminster players. And this game is tied up once again.
18-18, Milana dropping back to serve. Milana's serve across and dropped in again. And this North Park roster, all of them have been using that top spin serve. Milana has it pinned better than any of them, able to drop it right back in on that back line.
Oh yeah, we've seen several perfect serves by Milana just like that. One earlier into the back corner, and then several more that have allowed North Park to get some good shots.
Milana this time into the net, too much over it. So another service there that'll send it back to Westminster. We're tied again at 19. Dalio Teo back to serve, received by Adebayo. Miller setting up Gedville. Rhodes receives. Shao McAllister setting up Ortman, goes for the back corner. John Sampson keeps it alive. Chantalangsi just has to push it across, and he pushes it wide. So that's another error, and that's another point Westminster. It's the Blue Jays who are the first to 20.
Yeah, Chantalangsi just had to hit it over to avoid the 4-hit error, but unfortunately for him, his hit just went straight out of bounds.
Tail across. Miller setting for Adebayo. Back corner, nobody there. Adekunle Adebayo makes it a 20-20 game. He gets North Park to 20. Both of these teams setting up for a wire-to-wire last 5 points. Now dropping back to serve is Jonah John Sampson.
It's been a very evenly matched set. Just when one team scores, the other team answers.
Sean McAllister sets up Ortman, and Gedville gets up there and says absolutely not.
He just hammered that one right back at Westminster. And while Westminster was the first one to get to 20, North Park's the first one to get to 21.
John Sampson back to serve once more. Serves up, received by Rosh. Sean McAllister sets up Peterson, who just has to nudge it across. Miller setting up Gedville, and it sets long. Now Milana sets up Adebayo, and that play was broken from the get-go for North Park. Sean McAllister getting up there to reject it again.
Yeah, it looked like North Park was just scrambling there to try to all get on the same page, but unfortunately they weren't able to.
And pretty much any time you have a player like Gerald Milana, an outside hitter, having to go for a set, it's not a great sign.
No, that means something has gone very wrong.
Now Miller sets up Gedville, and that's into the net.
Gedville just had a great block a few points ago, but unfortunately that hit by him just went directly into the net.
So Westminster now bringing momentum their way. They're 3 points away. They lead 22-21. Serving across is Nace, received by Adebayo. Miller setting up Robinson, and Sam Robinson not going to let Westminster pull away, makes it 22-22. Teddy Gedville back to serve once more. Gedville's serve is across, and well across, out the back line, so that gives Westminster the lead back. Another service error for North Park, and that makes it a 23-22 game. And it looks like head coach Brittany Welch will take her first time out of the evening. Neither coach really jumping at calling a timeout, neither team really pulling away. And as Westminster gets 2 points away from victory, Welch will try and get her team back on top.
Yeah, Welch is realizing I haven't used the timeouts yet, but the other Westminster's 2 points away from winning, so I should probably call one now to make sure that they can't have some sustained momentum and go on a 2-0 spurt to go up 1-0.
And a couple of those key stats, North Park, plenty more kills than Westminster, but it's other areas that Westminster is outplaying North Park in. They're playing a lot cleaner. North Park, 8 attacking errors to Westminster's 4, 5 service errors to Westminster's none. Now they have 4 service aces, but at the end of the day, Westminster will take those service aces if it means that North Park's going to give the ball right back with a service error. And then Westminster also dominating the point of attack right now. 4 blocks on the night. North Park only at 1. The Blue Jays controlling the net for the majority of this match. It's North Park's ability to move the ball and set up plays that are hard to block that's allowed them to stay with Westminster.
Yeah. Westminster's just looked like the more cohesive team so far.
Shao McAllister sends it across, received by Chantalengsi. Gedville sets for Lennon. And that timeout worked its magic. Braden Lennon gets up and ties it 23-23.
Looks like whatever head coach Brittany Welch told her team in the timeout has worked.
Ayakuli Adebayo back to serve for North Park. Serves up. Received by Rhodes. Shaw McAllister sets for Ortman. And Ortman has the Blue Jays 1 point away from taking set number 1.
That's Ortman's 3rd kill of the set so far. 1/8 of the total Westminster points. And if they can get another shot like that right here, they'll win this set.
Set point for Ortman. Serves across. Adebayo, poor reception. And Westminster now has the advantage. Shao McAllister to Lehman. Blocked at the line, but out. And that'll do it. Westminster takes set 1 with a score of 25-23. And it's a strong start to the night for the Blue Jays. North Park, they'll drop down 1 set in the match, and they'll look to get back on track in set number 2. And as these teams switch sides of the court, we'll be back in just a moment here on the Cougar Sports Network for more Concordia Chicago Tri-Volleyball. Welcome back to River Forest and Geisman Gymnasium at Concordia University, Chicago for Game 2 of the Concordia Chicago Tri between the Westminster Blue Jays and the North Park Vikings. After set 1, it's Westminster on top, taking that first set by a score of 25-23. And North Park, they had more attacking opportunities, they had more kills, and they technically had a barely higher hit percentage. Pretty much outplayed in almost every other category by the Blue Jays, however.
And the one where it comes down to me is service errors. Westminster was perfect in serving, and meanwhile, North Park had 5 service errors. That's just 5 free points for Westminster. And once they had those, they were 20% of the way there. And
it's not just those service errors, it's the attacking errors as well. North Park, 9 free points handed over to the Blue Jays. Only 4 errors from Westminster in that entire set. And now Adebayo, a long shot out of bounds, out the back. And Westminster will draw first blood again here in set number 2. Shao McAllister, he'll have another opportunity to serve. And his second serve will go into the net. So first service error for Westminster on the evening.
If you're Westminster, you'd probably take your first service error being at the very, very beginning of the second set. It's not in a position that'll do you too much damage.
Adekunle Adebayo back to serve from a 1-1 tie. Adebayo's serve across, received by Tail. Ortman pushes it across. Now Milana going for the mid-range. Tail can't keep it up. And North Park makes it 2-1.
We've seen Milana be incredible from the serving, but now he managed to do it from a different part of the floor and give his team the first lead of this set.
Adebayo, another chance to serve, this time leading by 1. And he'll get it across and out of bounds, this time wide. Adekunle Adebayo struggling with control, both the attack and from the service line early on in set number 2.
Yep, and that'll be their 6th service error of the night. They hope that doesn't keep going.
Adekunle Adebayo receives. Chantalengsi just has to push it across. Now Sean McAllister setting up Teo. And Teo, that one's going to eat up Teddy Gedville and get into the bleachers.
Westminster's been good so far tonight about just sending shots back at rough angles that force North Park to not be able to react well and just send it off to the side.
That serve across, Chantalengsi setting up Milano, and Milana blocked at the line by Luke Rohrbach. And the Blue Jays, a 4-2 lead, and they're going to force an early timeout by head coach Brittany Welch, who wanted her team to come out strong, wanted them to get a lead early on. And they had a lead for a second, but Westminster able to bring it right back.
First set, we saw neither team took a timeout until right at the end when Welch took her first and only timeout of that one. But now she decided, okay, I'm going to call one now, try to make sure that Westminster doesn't get the momentum to pull ahead and really leave us in the dust.
I think the biggest thing coming from that is that North Park hasn't really been cleaner in this set. 3 of those 4 points that Westminster has are off of errors. Not a great stat to have. You're already up to 10 attacking errors on the game, 6 service errors. This team has struggled to play clean, especially compared to Westminster, and full credit to head coach Dalton Tucker, who has coached a very well-controlled, well-disciplined team. It's those errors. Those will make the difference in a match, and Westminster has that down pat right now compared to North Park. Aiden Nortman will drop back to serve out of the timeout. North Park will look to take possession back out of the break. Serves up and across. Adebayo receives. Gedville sets up Robinson. And Sam Robinson will get the job done. Point North Park makes it 4-3.
And that's what Welch wants to see coming out of the timeout. She wants to see her guys not immediately make bad decisions, but instead send some rockets back at the Westminster team.
Now back to serve for the first time tonight is Zach Hayden out of South Bend, Indiana. Hayden puts it across, received by Ortman. Sean McAllister setting up Rohrbach. Now Gedville, long set, errant set, over the net and out of bounds. Another error from the Vikings gives another point to Westminster. And this time it'll be Luke Rohrbach with a chance to serve.
North Park, this is North Park's second match of the season, so I wonder if some of those errors are just due to not having played much this year yet.
And how about that? Make it an ace for Luke Rohrbach. First service ace of the night for the Blue Jays. And that one, just an errant reception from Milana, an errant pass reception from Chantalengsi. And that'll end up on the ground. Now Gedville sets up Lennon. Ortman to Shower McAllister. And then Lehman blocked at the line, but it's blocked out of bounds by John Sampson and Milana. And this makes it a 7-3 game. This is the largest lead we've seen from either team tonight.
Yeah, the first set was a very close game. It was a very close match. But now Westminster just seems to have all the momentum.
Now Milana just has to get that across. Sean McAllister setting up Peterson. Gedville to Milana. Great reception from Rohrbach. Now Lennon gets that one down on the corner. Braden Lennon drops it in there, makes it 7-4.
Rohrbach had the great reception on the first one to him, but unfortunately he couldn't get his arms up for that one.
Leah Miller will drop back to serve now for North Park. Serves up and across. Received by Ortman. Sean McAllister setting up Peterson, and Khalil Peterson misjudged the distance to the net and spiked that down onto his own side.
It looked like he wanted to send that almost in a straight down line on the North Park side. Unfortunately, didn't get it far enough, and it went straight down on his side.
2 straight points for North Park, makes it 7-5. Liam Miller serves it across again, received by Ortman. Sean McAllister setting up Lehman. Lehman powers that to the back row. Rhodes. Sean McAllister. Lehman again. That time gets it down off the leg of Liam Miller. Connor Lehman brings possession back the way of the Blue Jay.
Lehman's first shot was returned right back over. So he was like, okay, I'll angle a little bit to the left now, hit it right off the side of Liam Miller.
Adam Rash back into the game. Miller to Milana, and Gerald Milana brings possession back to his squad.
Aiden Nortman didn't even really react to that one. It's just the shot went straight to his hands and just bounced right off.
Milana across, received by Rhodes. Sean McAllister over to Teo, and that one conquers the block.
And Teddy Gedville came down limping a little bit on that one. He limped back to the rest of his team and seems to be walking it off a little bit now.
Yeah, it looks like it might just been a hard contact between him and John Sampson as they both went up for the block.
Yeah, anytime your knee goes directly off someone else's knee, it's not a great feeling.
Point Westminster, however, makes it 9-6. Dalio Teo back to serve again. Received by Adebayo. Miller sets up John Sampson, and that one's going to eat up Rash.
Rash tried to react, but just didn't have the reflex. And it went right into our stats keeper's desk.
Rash off his leg gives John Sampson a chance to serve now from a 7-9 deficit. John Sampson sends it up and across, received by Teo. Sean McAllister over to Ortman and out the back line.
And that's something that you don't see a whole lot of out of Westminster, just an error. They don't make a whole lot of those, but if they start stacking up, then North Park can just get right back in and take the lead.
John Sampson into the net, so that's a service error, and that completely breaks the point I was about to make. Until that service error, the Vikings actually hadn't had an error since Brittany Welch's last time out. So they'd been doing well, and John Sampson going to end that streak. Now Miller sets up Robinson, and Robinson again, good for another kill on his first play into the game.
And that's what you want. You want a player to, when they immediately come in the game, just have an impact, and whether it be score immediate points or get some good saves or some good sets, that's what you want to see.
Teddy Gedville back to serve. Serve is up and across, received by Rosh. Rohrbach just has to nudge it across. Lennon from the far side over the block and down. No one watching the back corner on Westminster's side, and that's going to make it a tied 10-10 game.
Yeah, there was no one in the Westminster area code, so they just all had to watch and hope that it went out, which unfortunately for them, it did not.
Gedville, another chance to serve. Ball's across. Rosh to Sean McAllister to Ortman, and again beating the block of Lennon and Robinson, and the Blue Jays will take the lead back.
That's something that Ortman's great at. He's great at just beating the blocks and forcing the other team to just hit it right back into their own net, which we just saw him do. And
the biggest thing is North Park, their players, when they're going up for blocks, they're blocking back behind the net. They're not closing that distance enough, so when they get the block, it can be firm, it can be straight, but it's dropping down on their side of the net. That's something you can't have happening. And that ball also dropped down on North Park's side of the net, an errant play from the Vikings end, so Sean McAllister, another chance to serve. Set up by Gedville to Lennon, and that one deflected off the Blue Jays and out of bounds, point Vikings.
Yeah, despite all the errors that North Park has been making, they're still only down in this set by 1 point. This is still very much anyone's set.
I mean, they've been kept in it because they've been strong on the attack. That's the biggest difference between these two squads is Westminster's playing clean, North Park's playing aggressive. They're committing more errors, but they are getting more kills. Now Now Lehman eats up the Chantalangsi. Milana across. Another set, this time to Ortman, blocked at the line. Rohrbach keeps it alive. Ortman, another chance over the block. Gedville setting up Lennon, and that one, the block miscommunicated. Lehman knocks it towards the bleachers. That'll go out of bounds. Point, North Park, we're tied again at 12.
We haven't seen a whole lot of miscommunication out of Westminster so far tonight, but it came at the wrong time, and now North Park's got this game all tied up.
Back to serve is Adebayo. Serves across, received by Shaw McAllister. Can't keep it alive, so out of bounds, and North Park back on top, 13-12. They've climbed back into this one.
Yeah, early in this set, Westminster had a 4-point lead, and it almost looked like they might run away, but since that timeout, North Park's been able to claw back and take the lead.
Adebayo straight into the bottom of the net, so a service error for the Vikings, and that'll give possession back to the Blue Jays.
And North Park's really just biting themselves in the foot here. They had the lead, they had it all set, and then it was just another service error that tied the game up and gave Westminster possession back.
Ortman across. Now Gedville sets up Milana, who gets up there. It's an errant reception from the Blue Jays. Out of bounds, point Westminster. North Park.
That ball hovered for a sec, and the North Park players were all too happy to just watch it fall out of bounds.
Back into the game to serve is Zach Hayden. Hayden serve across, received by Ortman. Sean McAllister setting up Teo. And miscommunication. Adebayo runs into Lennon. North Park able to get across still. Sean McAllister sets up Rohrbach, and Rohrbach brings the boom.
That miscommunication by North Park, it didn't affect the immediate hit they had. They were able to send it back over to Westminster, but by the time they regrouped, Rohrbach just sent a shot directly into the hole.
Now Rohrbach across, just over the net. Milana finds the corner again. Milana's doing a great job of getting to the back line, and Westminster struggling with their back row defense on those corners so far in this match.
Yeah, Milano's been doing great at just finding the spots where the Westminster players aren't and sending it right to that spot.
Liam Miller back into the game to serve. He'll send it up and across, received by Ortman. Now Sean McAllister setting up Lehman, drops that one to Chantalangsi. John Sampson slams that one down.
It's hits like that North Park's been needing, and recently here they've been able to get those, and they've got themselves a 2-point lead now.
Now North Park with a 2-point lead gets another Liam Miller serve. Sean McAllister setting up Peterson, another misjudged shot from Peterson into the net, makes it 17-14.
Peterson's had a few shots like that this set where it seems like he's just misjudged the distance and the height that he needs to go, and they've gone directly into his own net.
3-point deficit now for the Blue Jays. Miller serves it across again. Straight into the net, so the bleeding stops because of another service error. Make it 9 on the night, and Westminster will get possession back. It's a 15-17 game.
Just when it seems like North Park's got a 3-point lead, they got possession, maybe they can do something. Another service error, and they just shoot themselves in the foot.
Back to serve is Adam Rosh. Rosh up and across. Received by Chantalangsi. Miller sets for Milana. Floater. Rhodes keeps it up. Now Teo. Floater. Over to Teo again. Hard shot. Splits the block. And Westminster brings it back within one. Dalio Teo keeping at it until he finally gets the point.
Yeah, he just kept going for the angle and the right shot, and finally he got it.
Adam Rosh back to serve again. Milana receives. Miller sets for Milana, and Milana deflects off the block and out of bounds. Point, Milana.
Milana's just been sending them at the Westminster players like the rockets, and as he comes to serve again, we'll see if he can get his third serving ace of the night.
Makes it an 18-16 game. Serves up and across, and miscommunication between Rhodes and Rosh will let that one drop to the ground. That's an ace for Gerald Milana, makes it a 19-16 ball game.
It looked like the Westminster players just thought, oh, the other one's got it. And so they just watched it go by, because in reality, neither one of them had it.
Milana going to send this one, deflecting off the net and off of Rosh's shoulder and out of bounds. So another ace, back-to-back aces for Gerald Milana and North Park's first to 20. Milana's serve up again. This time it's out the back corner. So two service aces traded for a service error, and Westminster will get possession back 17-20.
That one was close, but unfortunately for Milana, it was just over the line.
Back to serve now is Dalio Tail. Dalio Tail sends it across. Miller sets up Gedville, and Gedville finds Pater. Point North Park, 21-17.
North Park looking to close out Westminster in this set. It was close in the first set, but ultimately Westminster was able to pull away and get the last two shots. Now North Park's hoping that they can do that here.
John Sampson back to serve. He'll throw it up and send it across. Received by Rosh. John McAllister sets up Turner. And Derek Turner, her first attempt of the night and his first kill of the night.
He sent it straight at Milana, who just wasn't able to get his feet set and get in the right spot. And they're only 3 points down now.
Nace up and across and out of bounds.
That's just the second service error that we've seen by Westminster here tonight, and it couldn't have come at much of a worse time.
Westminster trailing by 4. North Park only 3 away from taking set number 2. Up and across, received by Tail. Sean McAllister, a little flip. So now Gedville sets over to Lennon. Sean McAllister setting up Turner. Blocked at the line. And how about that? It's a dunk from Luke Rohrbach.
He saw the gap in the North Park defenses, and he put the ball right there.
Luke Rohrbach at 6'6", the tallest player on either squad. 6'5" Gedville sets up Lennon, who is stuffed at the line. And it looked like Rohrbach barely even had to jump for that one.
He just had to put his arms straight up, and he returned that one right to sender.
20-22, Sean McAllister looking to continue to close this gap. Serves up. Received by Adebayo towards the bleachers. Gedville saves. Adebayo! Mid-range shots blocked by Rohrbach again. And Westminster forces a timeout from Brittany Welch, who doesn't want her team to lose their lead late.
Those last 3 shots, Rohrbach woke up. He said, we're losing by 4. I'm going to get my team back in this by myself if I have to. And that's pretty much what he's done.
And as these teams take a short break down the court, we'll take a short break here at the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a minute for more volleyball. Welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium for the final points of set number 2 between Westminster and North Park. The Blue Jays trail by 1. They'll have a chance to even it up here with Shaw McAllister serving. Adebayo receives. Gedville sets for Lennon. Blocked the line. Milana sends it straight back across. Turner taps it across. Chantalangsi over to Lennon. Floater. Tao keeps it alive. Over to Turner. And it looks like that's off the pin. So that'll be a point. Vikings just a bit too far to the left off the spike of Turner. So 23-21 now with Adebayo back to serve.
North Park allowed Westminster to get back in this, but they're like, okay, focus, get the job done. Now we're only 2 points away.
Serves across, received by Turner. Sets up Turner. And finds the back corner. Derek Turner goes coast to coast. And Westminster's back within 1.
There wasn't a North Park player inside of that one, and so he just sent that one in to make this a 1-point game again.
Back to serve, trailing by 1 is Aiden Ortman. Serves up. Received by Adebayo. Gedville sets up Lennon. Rhodes receives. John McAllister keeps it on that side, and it's another dunk from Luke Rohrbach. Shaw McAllister kept it alive, and Luke Rohrbach slams it down again.
Luke Rohrbach is personally responsible for 4 of the last 5 Westminster points that we have seen.
And we're back here at 23-23. Gedville sets up Milana, and Milana makes it 24-23. The Vikings 1 point away from taking set number 2.
They were in a similar position in the first set. They had it tied 23-23. Westminster scored back-to-back to win it. Now North Park's hoping that they can get back-to-back to win it.
Zach Hayden now lining up to serve. Westminster needs a point to force extra volleyball. North Park can win it here. Serves across, received by Teo. Shaw McAllister sets up Teo, and we're gonna get some extra volleyball here in set number 2. Dalio Teo beats the block again, makes it 24-24.
I'll never say no to some extra volleyball.
A score of 24-24. Luke Rohrbach will drop back to serve once more. Chantalangsi over to Gedville. Now Lennon out the back, and now it's Westminster, who's 1 point away from winning the set.
North Park seemed to be in control, but Westminster's had the last 2, and now they're knocking on the door of taking a 2-0 lead.
Rohrbach serves across. Milana to Gedville. To John Sampson, and it's just in on the corner. Jonah John Sampson keeps this set alive, 25-25.
Perfect shot by John Sampson to make sure that we get some even more extra volleyball.
With these teams tied at 25, Liam Miller will drop back to serve. Miller's serve up and across. Ortman, Shaw McAllister, Lehman. Blocked at the line by Lehman. Miller to Milana, back row. Ortman keeps it alive. Shaw McAllister keeps it alive. Teo beats the block again, and Westminster makes some magic happen. And they are 1 point from taking the set once more.
Beautiful shot by Teo. Just send it directly into the North Park players where, as you mentioned, they leave a little bit of a gap between themselves and the net.
Adam Rosh will come back into the game to serve with this team at set point. Serve is up and across. Chantalangsi to Miller. Sets up Gedville. Now Teo over to Rosh, who just has to send it over. John Sampson responds immediately. Shaw McAllister to Teo, out of bounds. Tied at 26.
That's now twice when Westminster's had the chance to finish North Park off in this set and take a 2-0 lead, and twice North Park has managed to fight back.
Now it'll be Gerald Milana back to serve for North Park. Serve is up and across. Rhodes. Shaw McAllister Teo blocked at the line, and now it's North Park with advantage.
North Park gets their first advantage of the night, and now Gerald Milano is going to have a chance to get his 5th service ace of the night and knot this thing up 1-1.
Milano's serve up, over, Rhodes, Sean McAllister, and Peterson gonna keep it alive, almost out of bounds, and you saw the look on his face. He's thanking his lucky stars. That one stays in bounds, makes it 27-27. Westminster will stay alive with Dalio Teo back to serve. Serves up. Chantalangsi to Miller. Sets up Adebayo. Teo keeps it up. Rosh keeps it up. And Shao McAllister can't get it over the net.
That was just a desperation reaction by McAllister to try to get it up. And he managed to hit it. Unfortunately, it was not enough to get it over the net. Or keep it in.
So it's advantage North Park again, 28-29. John Sampson back to serve now.
Going to try to do what they couldn't do just a minute or so ago.
Serves up and across. Teo receives. Shao McAllister sets up Ortman. Now Miller sets up Gedville, and that's off the pin. Teddy Gedville misses his aim, and we're tied up at 28, and that guarantees we're going to get a 30-point set here in set number 2.
Heck yeah. Both sides have had 2 opportunities now to finish it off, and neither one has been able to do it.
Khalil Peterson up and across. Received by Adebayo. Miller sets up Robinson. Advantage North Park again, 29-28.
Yeah, they're hoping 3rd time's the charm here. They couldn't get it done on the first 2. Now they're hoping that Teddy Gedville will be able to get it in and knot this baby up.
Gedville back to serve again. Across, received by Rosh. Sean McAllister sets up Ortman, and there it is. Oh. Aiden Ortman, a power shot to the back row. Ties it up at 29.
Aiden Ortman ties this one up and also knocks on our camera down there. So he can be expecting a bill in the mail very soon.
Sean McAllister back to serve. Gets it across. Adebayo to Gedville. Adebayo goes for the kill himself, and that'll do it. That one ate up McAllister on the reception. So North Park has 1 point away again, 30-29.
Now they're hoping that 4th time's the charm.
It'll be Adekunle Adebayo with the chance to serve and finish it himself. Adebayo's serve is up and over. Received by Rhodes. Shao McAllister. Give it to Luke Rohrbach and let him do the rest of the work. We are tied up at 30.
Rohrbach saw the wide hole right in the middle of the North Park side of the net. He said, all right, tying this game up, we're going to at least 32.
Ortman across. Adebayo to Gedville. Now Milana. Going to give his team the advantage again. That one tipped out of bounds off of Lehman. And Sam Robinson back to serve for set point, 31-30.
And now North Park's hoping that 5th time's the charm.
Robinson gets it up and over and out of bounds. Tie game at 31. So now Luke Rohrbach back to serve. Luke Rohrbach was back to serve, I think, at 24-24. And now Gedville sets up Milana straight into the face of Shao McAllister. It doesn't matter. It's a court violation on the Blue Jays. 32-31. Now North Park advantage again. Liam Miller back to serve.
Yeah, they're hoping Liam Miller here will be the one that'll get them over the hump and allow them to score back-to-back points.
Miller's serve up, over, received by Ortman. Shao McAllister to Lehman. North Park able to keep it alive. Now Milana is going to end it. North Park takes set number 2. Score of 33-31. The Vikings grind it out to even up this match at 1-1. And these teams will switch sides of the court and they'll get a well-deserved 3-minute break after a thrilling second set. We'll be back here on the Cougar Sports Network in just a couple minutes for more action between the Westminster Blue Jays and the North Park Vikings here at the Concordia Chicago Tri. Welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium here on the Cougar Sports Network. I'm Jonathan Cheer here with Eric Perry, getting ready for set number 3 of tonight's match between the Westminster Blue Jays and the North Park Vikings. North Park taking a thrilling set number 2, 33-31. And they'll look to get on top after evening this match up at 1-1 set here in set number 3. Teddy Gedville will start with the serve for North Park.
North Park put an end to that marathon set where it felt like whatever one team had, the other team had an answer, and we were just going to keep going for forever, it felt like.
So Gedville will serve it up to start set number 3. Up and across. And errant reception from Teo. West and North Park will draw first blood for the first time tonight.
That's not how you want to start a set. You don't want to just have a rough, undeserved error be the thing that kicks off the scoring.
Gedville to serve again. Westminster scrambling to get set again. Shaw McAllister to Teo, blocked the line. Teo, Shaw McAllister, back to Teo, over the block. This time it'll be Adebayo from the far side, and he'll beat the block, get it deflected out of bounds, point North Park.
North Park taking a 2-0 lead. That now makes 4 straight points that they've scored going back to the end of set 2. Hoping to keep the momentum flowing right here.
Gedville, another chance to serve. He'll get it across and in, an ace for the big man.
That makes the 8th serving ace by North Park tonight.
Second in the last 3 for Gedville, who is on a heater. He'll look to extend this opening run. Teo. Shaw McAllister gets up there and fools the Vikings. Nice little flip from Shaw McAllister.
North Park was not expecting that one whatsoever. They were expecting him to set it, not send it right back at him.
And we've seen Shaw McAllister dump it at points tonight. Never seen him get up there and go for a full-on spike.
No, we have not.
And Lennon blocked at the line again. And Lennon still second in this match with 8 kills, but I mean, look at where he struggled with consistency tonight. It's that blocking. He has been struggling to beat those blocks on the first try. Gedville sets up Robinson, and Robinson will bring possession back, makes it 4-2 North Park.
Lennon's looked good. It's just he hasn't been able to keep the good things flowing steadily. It's just been a good shot here, another good shot, and then an error.
Adebayo back to serve now. Gets it up and across, received by Tail. Shaw McAllister sets up Turner. Now it's Gedville to Robinson, and that one all the way out of bounds. So that's going to be an error on Robinson, point Blue Jays.
Robinson was up in the air, and he launched that. That hit the out-of-bounds line for the basketball court.
Tail over. Gedville sets up Lennon. Now Tail, Shaw McAllister, Tarek Turner ties this game up at 4.
We haven't seen a whole lot of Derek Turner, but whenever he's in the mix of it and making things happen, he's really making things happen.
Tail up and over. Gedville to Milana. And Milana's going to stay on a heater. 13th kill of the night. Makes it 5-4.
Milana's got those 13 kills to go with his 4 serving aces. He has been, when he can control it, he's been almost unstoppable.
Robinson now ready to serve. Tail to Shaw McAllister. Sets up Ortman all the way across. Now Gedville sets up John Sampson. Shaw McAllister looking for Turner. And Turner able to beat the block. It's deflected out of bounds. And Westminster will tie it back up at 5. I mean, that was a fun stat from tonight, Eric. How about those tie scores? 16 tied scores in the first set, 15 tied scores in set number 2. We already had a couple here in set number 3.
Oh, yeah. These two teams are very evenly matched. No doubt about that.
Ortman pushes that across. Chad Delancey over to Milana. Blocked at the line, but it's a poor block from Derek Turner. Should have been a free point. Instead, he knocks it out of bounds. That'll be a point North Park.
And that's one that I'm sure Derek Turner would love to get back. If he just moves that in a few inches, they're the ones leading 6-5, not North Park.
Liam Miller sends that across. Received by Rhodes. Shaw McAllister sets up Lucas Brown, and Lucas Brown slams it down.
Just like that, we have another tied game.
Lucas Brown into the game for the first time tonight, and Brown is a player, one of 2 on the Westminster roster who ended up at this team for not the reasons you would want to happen. Both him and Ryan Rhodes, both out on the court right now, played their freshman seasons and were impactful players in their freshman seasons at Fontbonne University in St. Louis. Fontbonne closing after last year, shutting down all operations. So these two, they found their way to Westminster, picking up the Blue Jays in their inaugural season. Rhodes making a big impact so far. Lucas Brown hasn't seen the court much, but he's been incredibly efficient this season when he has. And Brown's going to get up there and block it out of bounds. So point North Park. We're tied back up at 7 now. Gerald Milana serves that across coast to coast. Brown keeps it up. Tail just fires that across. Miller sets up John Sampson, and that's going to be a kill for John Sampson. Makes it 8-7.
John Sampson's looked good tonight. That'll make his 5th kill of the night. And he's just been keeping it going and keeping North Park getting points.
Milana sends it across again. Tails reception straight back across. Adebayo fires it back over. Sean McAllister sets up Ortman. Ortman off the net, received by Chuntalangsi. Now Milana going for a mid-range jumping shot and just completely missed. And just it falls into the net. No good. We're tied up at 8 now after that attacking error.
It looked like in midair, Milana thought he was going to hit it out, so he tried to pull back. Unfortunately for him, he pulled back a little too much and wasn't able to get it over the net.
Ortman up and across, off the net and down. Aiden Ortman, give that man an ace. Can't get a much better serve than that.
I don't think that's probably how he drew it up, but he'll be happy to take it. It's an ace nonetheless.
Ortman going to send it across again. Miller sets up John Sampson. Tack another one on to John Sampson's total for the night. We're tied up at 9.
John Sampson's been an impactful player for North Park. He's always right at the front, getting the ball over the net and giving them the opportunity to make something happen.
John Sampson up and across and out of bounds. So John Sampson, he's been on fire at the front line. Had a chance at the service line and squanders it. Westminster back on top there, the first double digits, 10-9.
I think that was a little bit of a heat check for John Sampson there. Just put too much behind that serve.
Lucas Brown back to serve for the first time tonight, received by Adebayo. Miller sets up Robinson. Now Sean McAllister sets up Teo. Teo brings the Tabasco straight to the near corner.
That one just went straight over the head of Liam Miller, who didn't even really have time to jump up and try to make a play on it.
Makes it 11-9. First 2-point lead we've had in a hot minute here in set 3. Brown across, received by Adebayo, straight over the net. Luke Rohrbeck. Eyes got big, mouth started watering, and forgot to actually execute. Sends that one into the net. That's going to send possession back over to the Vikings.
You don't see many plays like that by Rohrbach. In fact, it's actually the first time we've seen him make an error tonight.
Gedville across. Rosh receives. Now Rhodes sets up Teo from the back row. Chuntalangsi sits that up for Lennon. Just has to push it across. Rhodes. Shao McAllister sets up Teo. And Teo fires that one through, ends up out of bounds, but it's tipped by a Viking, so the Blue Jays get possession back and lead 12-10.
That was a perfect shot by Tail to just go right off the fingertips of one of the North Park players and get their lead back up to 2.
Now on across, received by Milana. Now Lennon over the block, Rhodes over to Shao McAllister, sets up Turner. And Turner blocked at the line by Lennon, barely. And North Park will take possession back. It's 12-11. Westminster holding a 1-point lead.
Turner watched that one fall to the ground. I think he thought it was going to go out, but it did not. It hit the line, and now North Park's got possession.
Adebayo back to serve. Serves up. Teo to Shao McAllister. Rohrbach blocked at the line. Shao McAllister this time looking for Turner, blocked at the line. Ortman, Shao McAllister, Turner again. This time it's a floater. Gedville all the way over to Milana, who has to reach for it. And they're going to call a lift on Chuntalangsi. And North Park's frustrated. Might not even have made it over anyways. Either way, 2-point lead now for Westminster, 13-11. Dalio Teo back to serve again. Cross, Chuntalangsi to Gedville. Robinson has to punch it across. Now Teo from the back row brings the heat. Gedville over to Milana. Rhodes now looking for Turner. Chuntalangsi this time going for Lennon. These two teams back and forth. Shao McAllister, Turner, back row out of bounds, point Vikings.
Turner had the right spot, but unfortunately for him, it was a little bit outside. If he pulls that in, probably an inch, it's Westminster that takes that point.
North Park back within 1. It's 13-12. Westminster went on a little 2-point run earlier, one of the biggest runs we've seen this set, and it's back to that 1-1-1-1-1 trend. Robinson across, Teo. That one's going to make it all the way into the bleachers. That ends that 1-1-1 rend.
We have
North Park back even.
Yep, we got our first tie in a bit. That one was just sent straight into where our student section would be if we had CUC playing right now.
Robinson off the net. Shao McAllister sets up Ortman. Adebayo looking for Milana. Milana can't get it over the net. That's into the net and back onto North Park side. Point Westminster.
Westminster's just been able to answer everything that North Park has. But then again, North Park's also been able to answer everything that Westminster has.
That serve from Rohrbach across. Poor reception from Adebayo, so Westminster will have an advantaged press. Ortman across, received by Gedville. Chantalengsi looking for Lennon. Straight into the net, point Westminster.
Lennon would like to have that one back. He had a good shot. Unfortunately for him, he did not put enough mustard on it.
Down across the Adebayo. Gedville for John Sampson. And John Sampson out of bounds. Put some Tabasco on it. Forgot to actually aim the Tabasco. That one's going to make it 16-13 now. Westminster, their largest lead of the set.
Westminster's gone on a 3-0 run, something we have not seen a whole lot of tonight.
Milana from mid-range. They're going to say that's down on the line. So Gerald Milana stops the bleeding. Makes it a 16-14 game. You see head coach Brittany Welch over there talking to Adekunle Adebayo, and Adebayo's had a rough run of receptions.
He's had just a few not great hits that have given his team a disadvantage.
Miller's serve across, received by Ortman. That's set up for Turner. Now Milana straight into the net. Can't get it over, point Blue Jays.
Westminster back up by 3. A position that they've been in several times in the last 2 minutes or so.
Rosh back to serve. Up and across. Adebayo to Miller. Over to Gedville, and that's deflected off of Dalio Teo. Teo knew it was going out of bounds, didn't pull off in time.
Neither team's able to get more than a 3-point lead, it feels like. Every time a team starts to pull ahead, the other side's like, all right, time to rein it in. And they do exactly that.
Neither team's been able to create that commanding lead and able to run away with a set yet. And Gerald Milana going to send Westminster's possession straight back, setting that one all the way out the back line. And we're going to see a new face onto the court for the first time for North Park. Adrian Cullis out of Ponce, Puerto Rico. Back to serve for Westminster. It's Aiden Ortman. Cross received by Cotes. Now Gedville over to Rhodes. Shao McAllister looking for Teo, and that's going to be off the pin, point North Park.
And again, neither team's going to be able to get a lead more than 3. I think we've had, what, 1 4-point lead tonight early. Second set, Westminster was up 7-3, I believe, but since then, North Park's been able to keep it close.
The Vikings going to send it up and across. Received by Rosh. Shao McAllister can't keep it on the Blue Jays side. Point North Park makes it 18-17. They're back within 1.
I think Rosh hit that one a little harder than he meant. I don't think he intended for that one to go over the net, because when it did, it let a gaping hole that North Park hammered the ball into.
John Sampson back to serve it up. It's over. Received by Rosh. Set up by Shao McAllister. Brown pushes it over. Shao McAllister sets up Brown again. Gedville just puts it across. Brown, Shao McAllister. This time it's tail. Rhodes receives. Shao McAllister looking for Brown. And Brown's kill shot just tips off of a Viking. Initial call from the judges calling point North Park. The near side judge calling a tip ball from North Park. Point Westminster. Another kill for Lucas Brown makes it 19-17 Westminster.
Lucas Brown hasn't been involved a whole lot, but he's been here where it counts.
Miller sets up Robinson, and Robinson just had to double clutch for too long. Couldn't get enough on it. Makes it 2017. Lucas Brown, he's been efficient. 4 attempts, 2 kills, 500 hit percentage. He's looked good as we get a timeout from Brittany Welch. And when the Cougars played Fontenbonne last year, when Brown was on Fontenbonne here at home, he was one of Fontenbonne's top players. He was their top option.
Yeah.
And I think something that we might be getting with Lucas Brown is a bit of load management early on. If you notice, his right knee has a very large knee brace on.
Yeah, I noticed that. He hasn't been playing a whole lot. Presumably they want to make sure that he doesn't do anything to aggravate that leg injury, whatever it may be, and certainly don't want to make it worse because he is a good player when he's healthy.
And Brittany Welch calling her first timeout of this set as her team trails by 3. North Park able to stay with Westminster all night. They've taken set 2. They haven't let Westminster get out of reach, and when North Park's been in front, like you mentioned, Eric, Westminster hasn't let the Vikings get out of reach. But for the last 10 points, really, it's been Westminster in control. They haven't let North Park draw it back even. So coming out of this timeout, it's Westminster possession. North Park, every time they've called a timeout, they've come out of it. They've gotten that first point. They're going to want to do so again here as they trail by 3, with the Blue Jays only 5 away from taking set 3.
Yeah, Welch is hoping that this timeout will allow her team to get their heads back on straight, and it'll have the same effect as what it did in the first 2 sets, and allow her team to regroup and go on a run to win this one.
Up and across from Nace. Miller sets up Robinson. That's deflected by Rohrbach and out of bounds. Point North Park. They're going to keep up that trend of picking up those points out of timeouts.
Yeah. Seems both teams are allergic to taking more than a 3-point lead at this point. And I have a feeling that there's a very good chance that we end up going the full 5 sets here tonight.
Gedville's serve is across and into the net. Teddy Gedville squanders an opportunity and hands a gift to the Blue Jays.
Gedville had a chance there. He gets that one over. North Park's had a little bit of momentum. Maybe they can make it a 1-point game, but was not to be.
Shao McAllister across. Gedville sets up Adebayo. Shao McAllister sets up tail. Over to Lennon, just has to go mid-range. Great block from Rohrbach, and North Park keeps it alive. Robinson and Lennon do some work. Now Teo will finish it. He's going to put the Tabasco on and send it to the near sideline and get it down. Westminster forces North Park onto the back foot and doesn't let up.
Teo said, your diving plays are cool, but I'm just going to send a rocket down the side.
Now Gedville sets up Lennon, and this time Lennon's able to get it past for a point. North Park 3 away. They're down 22-19. Westminster 3 away from winning the set.
North Park hoping they can do what they did last set, which is come back and send us into another marathon set.
Adekunle Adebayo back to serve, up and across. Shao McAllister over to Rohrbach, and Luke Rohrbach gets up and gives Westminster a 4-point lead, puts them 2 away from taking set 3.
Now what North Park needs is a 6-0 run. Otherwise, either Westminster's going to win this or we'll have some more volleyball.
Tails serve out of bounds, so North Park will crack 20 here in set 3.
North Park will take the 3 points. Anything they can to claw back into this game, they will gladly take.
They haven't been getting many of those 3 points. It's that consistency that's allowed Westminster to stay in control. Tail receives. Shao McAllister over to Ortman, tries to go coast to coast. Gedville sets up Cullis. Now Lehman from the side, straight into Adebayo's face, but the North Vikings keep it up. Lehman again, this time floater out of bounds off the hand of Cullis. That's going to make it 24-20. Westminster 1 point away from winning set number 3.
All they need to do here is make sure that North Park doesn't go on a 6-0 run, and they've got a 2-1 lead.
Rohrbach serving at set point. Into the net. And Luke Rohrbach squanders that opportunity. So North Park will have an opportunity to draw even.
Westminster's been good with avoiding service errors, but they've got 2 in their last 2 serves.
Liam Miller back to serve. Up and across. Tail. Shao McAllister. Ortman. Straight back across. Rhodes. Shao McAllister. Ortman again. Miller sets up Gedville. Out of bounds. Teddy Gedville. The market it killed. They're at 22 and only 2 away from tying this set up.
North Park's halfway there. They needed 6 points, or they needed 5 points to force the tie, and they've got 2. Looking for the 3rd straight here.
Miller's serve is across. Rhodes. Shao McAllister looking for Lehman. Nobody home at North Park in the middle of the court. That gaping hole exploited by Connor Lehman. 25-22. Westminster takes set number 3 in what is somehow the most dominant set that we've seen from either team. The Blue Jays, they're up 2-1 and 1 set away from taking their first game of this try. These teams will switch sides and take a break for a couple of minutes. We'll take a break here, too, on the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment for more volleyball action. Welcome back to River Forest and Geisman Gymnasium here on Friday, January 17th. For tonight's matchup between the Westminster Blue Jays and the North Park Vikings. Westminster on top 2-1 over North Park. They're one away from taking their first game of the Concordia Chicago Dry in their fourth win in program history, continuing a strong start to their inaugural season. North Park on the back foot, backs up against the wall, need to win the next two sets to win the match. They clawed out and win in set number 2, 33-31. They've stayed with the Blue Jays in the past two sets, but it's been Westminster, especially in set number 3, that was able to control the game and finish out on top. That'll be Westminster to serve to start set number 4 as well.
Westminster was able to control the majority of that third set, so that's what they're looking to do here.
Jake Shaw McAllister to serve. Robinson across, Shaw McAllister to Rhodes, sets up Ortman. Drops it in on the back corner, Aiden Ortman, perfectly placed, and Westminster draws first blood.
Ortman dropped a dime down the line, and they're able to take an early 1-0 lead.
1-0 lead early for Westminster. Shao McAllister off the net and down. No good service error for the junior.
And this will 1-1 here will now be our 39th tie game of the night.
Yeah, and that last set close, but after pretty much point 10, didn't see any more ties. Westminster was able to hold a lead since then.
Yeah, from point 10 onwards, Westminster always had at least a 2 or 3 point lead. Got it up to 5 at one point.
Rhodes, Shaw McAllister, Rohrbach gets up there and deflects it into the bleachers off of Adebayo. Another kill for the 6'6" big man. Westminster back on top 2-1. Ortman back to serve now. And Chantalangthy, poor reception, deflected all the way to the back wall.
That's an ace by Ortman, and his team now has a 3-1 lead.
Ortman across, received by Adebayo, straight back across Rhodes. Shaw McAllister sets up Lehman, blocked at the line, and that'll go out of bounds off of the Blue Jays. Point North Park.
That ball came straight down and bounced off Ortman's arm, which, since his arm was heading backwards, that meant the ball headed backwards.
A 3-2 lead for the Blue Jays. Robinson sends it across. Rhodes. Shaw McAllister sets up Rohrbach. Another kill for Luke Rohrbach. That one deflected off of John Sampson.
Rohrbach has been a beast tonight, and when you look at his kill-to-error ratio, he's been even more of a beast.
Rohrbach serve across. Gedville sets up John Sampson. Rohrbach keeps it alive. Shaw McAllister. Ortman just has to send it across. Chantalangthy, Gedville. Now Lennon from the far side drops it in for a kill.
Rohrbach made an attempt to hit it, but unfortunately couldn't get his arms around in time. And this is, once again, a one-score game.
North Park still trailing by 1, 4-3. Liam Miller back into the match to serve. Miller's serve is up and across. Shaw McAllister sets up Teo. Another one for Dalio Teo into the block and down on North Park's side.
Earlier in the night, Jonathan, you mentioned how North Park's been situating themselves so that there's a gap in the net, or a gap between them and the net. That one looks like a victim of that one because they hit it and it just went directly into the net instead of over it.
And I think another part of it, too, though, is we see that a lot from North Park, a lot when Dalio Teo is the one hitting it. And I think Teo's doing a great job of recognizing if there's a block, and when he sees the block, just putting as much power as he can on it.
Yeah, Teo's been very controlled with his shots tonight.
And the Blue Jays fighting to stay alive. And now we're going to have a pause of play. Jake Shaw McAllister went down hard on his knee, and he comes up hopping. Just slowly waving off the trainer, just trying to walk it off on the far side. We saw Shaw McAllister holding that knee earlier in this game, and it is continuing to take a beating. Jake Shaw McAllister is a player that this Blue Jays team does not want to lose. Him, Dalio Teo, and Aiden Ortman, those three players who really haven't left the court at all tonight.
And knowing that Westminster's still got to play a whole match against Concordia once this one concludes, you wonder if maybe they'll put a little bit of a time limit on him to make sure he doesn't really aggravate that knee injury.
Adam Roth into the match to serve. Miller sets up Milana, blocked at the line by Teo. Over to Milana again, over the block, kept alive by Rhodes. Miller sets up Kedville, that one gonna split the defense and get down, so North Park ends up coming out on top.
Rhodes made a great play to keep the ball in play, but North Park was able to split the difference there.
Milana to serve it across and into the net. Jero Milana has been quiet at the end of the last set and in this set so far. He's lost the heater that he was on earlier in the game. Feels weird to say about a player with 16 kills, but 13 of those came in those first two sets.
Yeah, he was on a beast to start, had 4 service aces, but then I don't know if Westminster figured him out or if he just lost some control, but he's been lacking recently.
Lucas Brown, his first error of the night, had to just send it across and ended up sending it into the net. So North Park back within 1, 6-5. John Sampson tosses it up, sends it across. Roth to Shaw McAllister, over to Brown, and that one spiked down out of bounds. Back-to-back errors for the sophomore transfer, and North Park has brought it back even 6-6.
He's been playing good ball all night, but on the last 2 points, he's just had a misangled shot there and a shot that didn't have enough juice on it the first time.
John Sampson sends it up and across, and a poor reception from Dalio Teo, and North Park is on top 7-6.
Looked like at the last second, Teo thought it was going to go out, so he tried to pull back, but at that point, his arms were already around, so the ball just went right off him and right out of bounds.
John Sampson serves it again. Teo to Shaw McAllister, and Ortman stops the bleeding. A powerful shot that's deflected all the way to the top of the visiting bleachers.
That might be just what Westminster needs. North Park's gone on a mini run here. Even managed to take their first lead of this set, but now Westminster's got it tied up. They can breathe now and try to take the lead back with this point.
Lucas Brown tosses it up, sends it over. Miller sets up Adebayo, blocked at the line! Milana just has to pass it to Gedville, has to just push it across. Shaw McAllister went for a dump off. Adebayo saw the pain in his eyes as he falls to the ground and can't catch his errant hit on the other side of the net. And Westminster's back on top 8-7.
He thought he had it at first, but when he realized where that ball was landing, he realized it was in fact not where he wanted it to go.
Brown up and across. Adebayo receives. Miller sets up Milana, mid-range, deflected. Brown passes over to Ortman, just has to send it across. Jantalenksi over to Adebayo. Teo can't save it. And that'll do it. Westminster falls back to 8-8. North Park draws even, another tie in this set.
Teo had a good reach on that ball. Unfortunately, he was just spread up too thin and wasn't able to do anything with it.
Gedville's serve is up and across, received by Roth. Ortman blocks at the line and down. North Park's back on top 9-8.
A little bit of miscommunication from Westminster there, and that's allowed North Park to reclaim the lead and now hopefully extend their lead to more than one.
Teddy Gedville back to serve. Tosses it up and slaps it across. Received by Roth. Rohrbach just has to push it over. Short set from Shao McAllister. Shao McAllister over to Ortman. Long shot. Now Adebayo has to go from deep. Chantalangsi saves it. Gedville over to Lennon. Roth. Shao McAllister. Rohrbach ends it! Luke Rohrbach has had enough of that play, and we're back even at 9-9.
Rohrbach with a great shot to make sure that North Park was not able to extend their lead.
Jake Shao McAllister to serve for the second time this set. Adebayo from the far side. Rohrbach tries to just push it across. Rhodes, Rohrbach again. Gedville gives it to Robinson, and Robinson gets too much on top of it and sends it into the net. And the Blue Jays are back in front.
Robinson had such a big jump on that ball that when he hit it, it just went straight into the net instead of over it.
And sent across, received by Adebayo, set by Gedville for Lennon, who has to go from the mid-range. Shao McAllister, too long of a set. Lehman can't get it over, and we're tied back up at 9.
Lehman tried to get pretty with him, just tap it over the net. Unfortunately, he didn't get enough of the tap on it.
Adekunle Adebayo back to serve once more at 10-10. Serves up and over. Into the net. Adebayo, service error. Making number 16 on the night for North Park, and Westminster back in front 11-10.
Adebayo's been very up and down tonight. He's got 6 kills, but he also has 5 errors to go alongside with it.
Chantalangsi receives. Gedville sets for Robinson. That's a set for Lehman. Way too much sauce on that one, out the back line. Deflected by North Park, however, so point Westminster.
Westminster's got their first two-point lead in a while, and now they're hoping that they can do what they did last set and extend that to 3 and keep North Park at bay.
Ortman sends it across, received by Cullis. And Milana, a heater! And that one deflected all the way to the back wall. Shao McAllister tried everything he could to get there, but comes up a bit short. North Park back within 1.
McAllister made a great run at it. Unfortunately, it was just a little bit out of reach for him.
Sam Robinson back to serve. Puts it up and across. Just gets over. Lehman's there to keep it up. Shao McAllister to Lehman. Blocked at the line, and Lehman can't get out of the way. North Park catches a break, as that would have been out of bounds, and we are back even at 12.
Lehman tried to jump out of the way, tried to jump backwards. Unfortunately, he just couldn't move in time.
Set by Shao McAllister for Lehman. Blocked this time, out of bounds. No one there to bail out the Vikings. And Westminster's back on top, 13-12. Rohrbach tosses it up, pushes it across. Milana. Jean Sampson blocked the line. Another opportunity this time for Milana. Blocked at the line! Lennon kept it in play, straight into the face of Gedville, which went straight into the net. Gedville's blinking it off. And it's another 2-point lead for the Blue Jays.
Lennon was able to keep the ball from going out. Unfortunately, in his desperation, he just hit it the only place he could, which was right at Gedville's head.
Culles to Gedville. Lennon a shot, and that's going to get down on the inside past Rohrbach.
That was a perfect shot that manages to just find the small gap between Rohrbach and the line. And now, North Park's once again only down by 1.
Liam Miller back into the game. Doesn't like the ball. May be flat. And Miller will have a chance to serve as they trail by 1. Miller's serve across. Set up for Tail. Tail, Tabasco. Now Gedville just has to send it over. Shaw McAllister keeps it up. Tail off the set from Rhodes, gets it over. Miller sets up Gedville again. That one's deflected out of bounds by Shaw and McAllister. We're back, tied up at 14.
These teams are two incredibly evenly matched teams. No one team has the clear advantage. They're both excelling at different things that have allowed them to keep this game close all night.
The Blue Jays just unable to pull away from North Park. The Vikings able to keep clawing back into it. Now Tail from mid-range over. Miller sets up John Sampson. Ortman sets up Lehman, long shot. Now Miller will set up Gedville. Off the net, blocked, back over, Gedville to John Sampson. That one finds pay dirt. North Park's back on top.
John Sampson managed to place that one just out of the reach of Ortman. And yeah, North Park's got their first lead in a while.
Miller sends it across, received by Tail. Shaw McAllister to Lehman, little dropper. Now Miller will set up Gedville. Point again, North Park, they're up by 2.
That was a perfectly placed ball by Gedville, just ricocheted off Westminster and went out. And now North Park has their first 2-point lead in a very long time.
16-14 Vikings. Miller back to serve again. Serves up and across and out of bounds. Too far to the right, so Westminster stops the bleeding. That was a 4-0 scoring run before that service error from Miller.
And again, it's service errors that are really doing them in. Westminster has 5, North Park has 17.
Now Nace sends that across. Miller gets there to set up Gedville. And that's a court violation on Miller. Got across and tripped up Lucas Brown. So point Westminster, we're back up even at 16.
So 2 unforced errors by North Park. Just when it looked like they had a 2-point lead and some momentum, they just give it right back to Westminster.
And they're going to try and stop Westminster from getting anything with that momentum. Brittany Welch calling her first time out of the set. We'll take that opportunity to take a break here at the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Guys Men Gymnasium here at Concordia University Chicago for Game 2 of the Concordia Chicago Tri. It's been a thriller between Westminster and North Park, and it doesn't look to be ending anytime soon. We're tied up all at 16 as Nace sends that across, and John Sampson brings it back to North Park. 4 timeouts have been called by the Vikings tonight. Every single one of them has resulted in a point for North Park straight out of the timeout.
Whatever Coach Welch is telling her team during those timeouts, it is working.
Sent across, Tail over to Nace, sets up Turner, and Turner's shot off the block and out of bounds. Point Westminster, we're back even at 17.
Rhodes pulled back at the last second. He was going to hit that and then realized last minute, oh, that's not hitting the line, and managed to pull back.
Tail sends it across. Set up by Miller for John Sampson. Rejected and off the hands of Elijah Yasso.
That block, there was no one back there that was able to recover the ball and make a play.
Tail sends it across again. Jasso. Chantalangsi. Now Cullis. Way too much on that one. Well over the back line. 2-point lead for the Blue Jays. It's 19-17.
Looked like he was trying to get it over the blocks. Unfortunately, he got it over everyone.
Tail across. Now Nace sets up Turner. Turner's shot again blocked and out of bounds. Point Westminster.
Westminster's been great this set about getting good hits off blocks and just sending them straight out of bounds.
Tail sends it across. Chantalangsi's reception straight back. And Aiden Ortman saw red. Straight back down. Point Westminster. 4-point lead. 4 points away from the match. And Brittany Welch forced to call her second and final timeout of the set.
Ortman saw that ball and was like, I'm not setting this up for anyone. I'm just going to finish the job myself. And boy, did he. Forcing Coach Welch to call her second timeout.
I think the most interesting thing right now is that we've seen North Park let Westminster retain control with errors. That's not what is happening right now. Westminster offensively is playing very, very well in this home stretch.
They are just taking control here as they realize that the end is in sight, that they just got to get a few more points, and then they've got the win, and it's on to facing Concordia.
The Blue Jays 4 points away from taking their 4th win in program history. And a little fun fact with that, they started their program history 3-1 after their trip to New York. All 3 of their wins, those set scores were 3-1. If they win in this set, it will be a set score of 3-1. Westminster looking to continue to be a team of habit here against North Park.
Well, as long as the habit is winning, I think they will be very happy to be a team of habit.
Dalio Teo been a big presence in this game. 10 kills, leads Westminster in that category so far. And he'll send this serve across, received by Cullis. Miller sets up Gedville. It's a poor set, and Gedville can't get a good shot on it. That's blocked back down. A 5-point lead. 22-17, Westminster's in control with the largest lead of either team tonight.
And considering this is the 4th set, that's saying a lot.
Tail sends it across. Culles to Miller. Sets up Culles. And Culles, too much sauce again. Adrian Culles has struggled on the attack tonight. And that continues 23-17, a 6-point lead for the Blue Jays. We see Gerald Milana come back into the game. And Milana, he's someone who's really quieted up in set number 4. The North Park Vikings need him to come up big now. Miller sets up John Sampson. Talio keeps it alive. Now Ortman. That's a kill for Aiden Ortman. That's his 9th. And we are 1 point away from seeing Westminster run away in set 4.
Westminster is just said, you can give us all the unforced errors, but right now we're just going to take control, and we're just going to stomp you to finish out our match.
Teo sends it across and over. Dalio Teo decides that he wants his night to last a little bit longer, and North Park's going to have a chance to bail themselves out.
Must be having too much fun playing volleyball against North Park, and it's like, all right, I'll give you guys one more. Jonah John Sampson.
North Park must be flawless. Nace sets up Turner, and who else? Derek Turner wins it! A power shot to the back row, and Westminster takes set 4 and the game by a score of 25-18. They play lights out in the home stretch. And the Blue Jays move up to 4-1 on the season. They win their first game of the Concordia Chicago Tri and continue a strong start to their inaugural season.
North Park had a 2-point lead there near the end, and it seemed that from that moment on, Westminster just locked in, and they got focused, and they went on a run to close that first match, to close out the match and give themselves a 4-1 start, which also is coincidentally the best start in program history.
Brittany Roach called a timeout at 16-16. North Park won the point coming out of that. They didn't score again until Westminster was at 24. An 8-0 run for Westminster, the most dominant run we saw from either team. And that is a strong finish to their first game. Dalio Teo, like we mentioned, he led that team in kills with 10. Aiden Ortman, Luke Rohrbach, both behind him with 9. Connor Lehman, 8. Derek Turner turned it on in set number 4. He finished with 7. This is a well-rounded team, but so is North Park. They had a lot more kills. Gerald Milana, 17. Braden Lennon, 11. Sam Robinson, 9. Jonah John Sampson, 8. Teddy Gedville, 8. And yet it was those errors that made the difference. 30 attacking errors for North Park to Westminster's 19. 17 service errors to Westminster's 6. 10 service aces, but that can't make up for all of those errors. And North Park just a bit too sloppy to get the job done tonight. And Westminster, they'll be comfortable with a 3-1 victory, their fourth 3-1 victory in program history as they move up to 4-1 on the season. They'll look to get a very, very quick break here before they prepare for the next and final game of this Concordia Chicago Tri, taking on the hosts themselves, Concordia University Chicago. You see the Cougars already warming up on the right side of the court. So as we get ready for that game, we'll take a short break here at the Cougar Sports Network. Westminster wins this game 3-1 over North Park. We'll see how they do against Concordia Chicago coming right up here on CSN.